Vilahamn's press conference ahead of our FA Cup quarter-final with Man City this weekend. All online today, so if we can please use the raise hand function if you'd like to ask questions. But George, if you'd like to kick us off.
Hi, Robert. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I just wanted to start off with the news that the club announced this morning. The last game of the WSL season is going to be at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. How excited are you to take the team back there?
I think that's a very positive news because we want to play more games there. And I think after the first game against Arsenal, we want to get back and show our fans that we can raise that number and play good football there. So it's a good game. It's a derby against a good team. So it's going to be a good game. I'm very pleased to get back there.
And I know, last weekend, obviously you played at the Emirates and that was full, wasn't it? And not for the first time this season. I mean, on paper, Arsenal are a rival, but sort of what they've done with, packing out the men's stadium, are they sort of the inspiration long term? That's what you want to do at Tottenham?
Yeah, I think you understand that women's football is in the beginning of its phase to grow, and you see now with the Lionesses here, filling the Wembley, and you see Australia filling their stadium. You see Arsenal in Sweden. We have a Hammarby which is doing the same. So I think you can inspire each other, and you can find ways to make sure we develop that. And I think we have grown as well. The game we had at the stadium was a really good atmosphere. Brisbane Road also. So I think we need to look at it in not competition, actually, just to inspire each other. So I think everybody wants that, right? More fans on the stadiums, more games on the big stadiums, and just make sure we are rivals in everything else, but just make sure we help each other to grow full stadiums.
And it's Man City again this weekend. Obviously they're on a really, really strong run of form. Would you kind of say that they're probably the best team in England right now, given I think it's November the last time they lost?
Yeah, they won 7-0, and then I think they continue winning from that game to today, right? And they look very good when they play. They have a really good, strong defensively game. They know how to attack. You can tell that they know what they do, and they play basically the same starting 11. And so, yeah, I would say they are actually the team that looks mostly like the best team in the league. But then you always have Chelsea who are winning games anyway. So those two teams are really good, and Arsenal is amazing squad. But yeah, Man City is a really tough opponent. But I also feel like there's ways how you can beat them, but you need to be at your very best, and you need to make sure you have everything on your side that game. And hopefully we have that on Sunday.
And just finally from me, you've obviously closed the gap on them in those 3 fixtures you've already had, but have you kind of done anything differently this week with the players or the squad to sort of boost their confidence, to make sure that they know that actually they can beat Man City despite these 3 defeats?
Yeah, I'm not going to give you all the tactics today, but we're trying to find ways to break down what weaknesses do they have. It's a cup game, so you can actually be even more brave, because 1-0, 7-0, it doesn't really matter. You're out or you're through, right? So there's a few things in this game where we can, do different stuff, or actually do some stuff we have done, but even better. And then you also have the squad. Everybody's actually on the pitch training right now. So we have different options to make sure we can have a good game plan from the starting 11 or the finishing 11 as well. So I think we're going to find ways to make sure we really go for it, and then hopefully we have a good day. But once again, I have enormous respect for what they are doing, so it's going to be a tough game.
Thanks. Tom?
Hi, Robert. Really nice to see you. I think you answered my question there already, because you said everyone's on the pitch training right now, I think, but I just wanted to check on the team news and the fitness of the squad first.
Yeah, the medical team and the physical performance team are doing amazing work, so we don't have any issue at all. So it's a really hard competition, and everybody looks sharp and want to play. So it's a good situation in that way.
Thank you. And could I just ask what the FA Cup means to you, personally, and just what this competition represents in terms of the nostalgia and the importance of the cup?
I grew up to watch English football. There was only a channel I had to watch, and you watch the league first of all, but then those cup games from the FA Cup came on Swedish television, and you saw these strange teams beating the best teams sometimes, or these stadiums and so on. So for me, watching that tournament home in Sweden and the final at Wembley, which was when I was a kid, the biggest stadium in the world, I thought, because I didn't see anyone else, and it's probably one of the biggest still, right? But for me, it's like my childhood dream was to go on those big stadiums and win something. And I know that Tottenham Hotspur want to have trophies, right? And right now, this is the closest we are to get a trophy this year. So no, it means a lot. And I see by the fans and the club that this tournament is a big tournament in England, and we just want to make sure we compete and try to go to Wembley and win a trophy.
And just lastly, please, could I ask you how much you think you learned from the previous meetings against Man City this season?
Just lost you there a bit, Tom. Were you asking about the development on previous meetings?
I'm sorry, it must be the signal. I hope you can hear me, Robert. I was just wondering how much you learned from the previous meetings against Man City.
I mean, you learn every time you play against someone, and you learn how we work and how they work. And when you are a new coach with new players, you're learning a lot of new phases of the game and structure of the game, set pieces last time and everything. So every game you play, you get more information that you can use to make sure you improve. And I think we have a lot of information on how they play, because they also play quite, they play very much the same every game, and they do it very well. So you can analyze them in a good way, but they're also so good. So doesn't really matter the other games, but I think we can find ways where we can push it a little bit more. And I think you see that we develop, so we also perhaps can find ways in our game how we can be sharper, better. I think you saw the game against Arsenal. We were much better in possession than some of the other games. So if we can, find ways there, we know that we can hurt them. And on the other hand, they know how we play, and they get to know us even more every game. So it's hard to tell who's knowing most, but we have a good picture of how we can beat them, though. So it's through the games we played against them.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Cheers.
Alex.
Afternoon, Robert. You kind of touched on a bit there. I just wanted to kind of focus on the psychological impact of playing Man City 3 times this season and not scoring. How do you kind of motivate the players this time round, knowing that you played over 270 minutes without scoring, and how do you change it?
I mean, we've discussed a few things, how we have been good in those games. The first game away, we had a few really good chances where we didn't score. One of the home games, we scored a goal where it was small offside, for example. So we know how we can get to the points where we can score goals. And then I think what we have done against the top teams this year is to try to put a lot of effort into how we need to defend, because they are so good. But we also find ways to make sure we're even sharper and take the right decisions in the offensive game. I think if you look at it, we're not going to change something, but we're trying to add stuff in the way we play so we can break their defense down. I think one of the things is they're good in possession, but if we win the ball from them, can we be better in the transitions and go for it? Because we have had problems to do the counterattacks in a good way. So we kind of lost it again, and then they can, rebuild their attacks. So if we can add that to the game, that's one thing. Set pieces, we don't get too many against them, but if we can get a few of them and be very sharp there, that's one scenario how we can score. And once again, the squad is healthy. We have really good options on the bench. So how can we find ways to finish the game in a good way to go for it? And then all about football is patience and relations. So every game we play, we need to find new ways to break them down and new relations to go to those goal chances. And I think you saw Drew the other game coming back. She's one of the key players who can actually find ways to break down the defense line. You saw Jessica Ness with really good threat in behind. So we have options there. You have Beth great in the box when you get up there and have the crosses. So we have different scenarios depending on how we can get to those points. But it's a game with all the elements. It's hard to tell, like, we should do this and then we score, because it's a really tough opponent as well.
And just kind of on the difference between cup matches and league matches, is there one you kind of prefer to like kind of prepare for and manage? Because obviously with a cup, on Sunday, if you lose, you're out. In a league, it's a bit different where every point kind of matters. So yeah, do you prefer one to the other?
I like both, but yeah, you think a little bit different, because in the league, you kind of playing those 22 games to make sure you summarize everything after the season. So everything counts, every minute counts. If you lose 7-0, you have that in the table the whole year, which is not good for us. In the cup, you can be a little bit more brave. You can go for it a little bit more. You don't really need to. There's not more consequences than that you actually are out of the tournament. So you can be a little bit more brave in some decisions, perhaps. And you also know that it's the first goal is very important in the cup game, because you also know that the other team will be a little bit more stressed than in the league, I would say. So you can use that. But I mean, I love cups, because then you need to be really sharp on that day. And if you win that, you're through to the semifinal, and then you know, so I love cup games, and I hope that we can go the whole way.
Perfect. Good luck on Sunday.
Cheers.
Thanks. Dan?
Hey, Robert. Hope you're well. Just the one question for me. Obviously, Manchester City have that huge game against Chelsea tonight. You know, that's obviously going to take a little bit out of both teams. So I just wonder, you know, how much you think that could affect things on Sunday, and whether that might increase your chances of winning the game.
That's always something you want to use to your advantage, right? So I think they playing today, they're going to be more tired than us, yes. But on the other hand, there's so many times when they come to the next game with a good vibes as well. So I want to see it like, yeah, they're going to be more tired than us. That's good. But on the other hand, you know, when we played Arsenal in the Conti Cup with the same 11, and then we played them again in the league, and we won that game again, even if they switched to players. So I don't think it matters too much, actually. I just think we need to be very prepared, and I know that they're going to be very prepared, and it's going to be a tough game, but I also think it's going to be a good game, and I just want to make sure that we do everything we can to win this game for us and for the fans, and go to the semi-final.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Robert. Best of luck. Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, just to check for any final questions. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.